guys, my name is Shayda Campbell and this is an 11th apartment video. In today's tutorial, we're going to be going over how to illustrate flowers, leaves, and berries. I hope this relatively short video will serve as a bit of a reference guide and that you'll be able to quickly refer back to it when you're adding floral illustration to your own lettering projects. So let's get started. We're going to begin by talking about how to illustrate some simple leaves. So start by just drawing the twig or the branch, and then you're going to add one leaf at the top, and then you're going to add pairs of little leaves going down the stem, and you can get ever so slightly larger as you go down, or you can keep them the same size. But that's a very simple one that I go back to again and again. A variation on that is to draw that initial twig in the middle, and then add your leaf at the top, and then add little branches going out, and then put your pairs of leaves on them. And of course you can make the leaves any size and shape you want. You can do them sort of round, or you can do long and thin, but that's a good variation, and it's good to vary up the shape of the leaves and branches that you do, especially if you're doing a larger illustration. And of course you can add little veins on the leaves and detail work like that. All right, I'll show you another leaf that I've recently begun doing in my illustrations. So you add that initial twig, and then you just sort of go around it, leaving lots of space, and you can do sort of any shape with as many points as you want, sort of as pointy or as chubby as you like. And then you go back in and thicken that initial line and just add a few little veins there for detail. And I think that looks really nice. I'll show you that one more time. So do your first line, and then you just go around adding, you can do points on the leaves, or you can just do sort of a circular shape, and then you go back in and add some detail there through the middle. So that's really fun, and I love using that as filler. That's a really good filler leaf as part of a wreath or something like that. And anytime you're doing these groupings of leaves and branches, it's just a good idea to incorporate variety, especially, as I said, if you're doing a wreath. So different sizes, different shapes, and that'll be really helpful. So next we'll move on to berries. I like to do little groupings of circles and then add that little point on the top there. That sort of brings them to life and makes them more berry-like. And you can just join those up together with a few lines. And of course you can do as many as you like, and you can put that dot that I add, you can put that anywhere. There you go. So you can see how that really creates a simple array of berries, and you can do berries that are just on their own, free of the branches, and those are again great as filler as part of a wreath design. All right, so now we'll start into flower buds. Start with a V of leaves, and you can add a little semicircle across the top and then just a little line to join them. That V of leaves, semicircle, a twig on the bottom there, and then you can add a leaf or something. So those buds are very good again as part of a wreath design. And then you move on to flowers. The simplest of flowers is just sort of that lumpy petals, so 4 or 5 little petals there and an X in the middle. And those are great to do in little groupings. They act as good filler if you're doing a wreath or floral design, or you can use them to decorate your lettering projects. Really simple and easy to master. And let's move on. Here's another fun flower that I've started doing. I call this the baseball mitt. So you sort of do 5 fingers there and join them across the bottom with a semicircle. And then you add that little black bit in the middle. So let's try it again. So 4 or 5 points or fingers, join them across the bottom, and then you do this little black scribble there to represent the stamen or the middle of the flower. All right, let's try a little bit more of a 3-dimensional design. So start with that V of leaves at the beginning there again, and then you're going to draw in 2 petals with a line coming right down the middle. And then you're going to go back in and join those 2 petals in the back and add a few dots and lines for the stamen in the middle. And you can see you've got this sort of cup-shaped flower or a bud that's just opening. And anything a little more 3-dimensional like that will really bring your design to life. So you've got the V of leaves to start with, add 2 petals there with a line down the middle, and then join them across the back and a little dots for the stamen in the middle of the flower. All right, now let's try that same flower, but we're going to do it completely open. So we've got these dots to represent the center of the flower. and you could do little circles or dots, whatever you like. And then I just draw these big floppy petals sort of coming out from the center there. And what I'm going for here is I'm just moving that pen a bit so that line is just ever so slightly shaky and ever so slightly imperfect, and I think it's a little more artful. And you can see that there, and that's a really nice big open flower. You can add some leaves. It also has a really three-dimensional quality about it, and it looks great on the page, and it looks great as part of a lettering project or floral motif. I'll just do one more of those. Whole bunch of dots in the middle there, and then big floppy petals coming out from the center, and you can do 4 or 5 petals. 4 is easy to get started with because it's just quarters. Really simple. Okay. Now I'll show you how to do my spiral flower, which we've done before. You just spiral out here. It doesn't have to be a perfect spiral. It can be a little offset, and then you get sort of lumpy around the outside, and I think that makes a fun little rose illustration. Add a few leaves, and that's all there is to it. And of course, you don't have to do the lumpy bits. You can create little rose buds by just doing these little spirals. Add a pair of leaves on there, and that's a great way to create another small flower illustration. All right, and finally, for my final flower, we'll do another really straightforward one. It's just an oval, and then you add a little black oval around the top of the flower and add a stem. So simple oval on the page, black oval across the top, maybe a line or two for detail, and a simple stem to finish it off. All right, guys, well, that is just about it for this week. I'm going to finish off my floral design here by filling in all these spaces with little leaves and berries, and then I am all done. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, please don't hesitate to hit like and subscribe. And I want to let you know this week that I am super busy. I've been out foraging for these wonderful wild roses that grow here in PEI. I collect the petals of the roses, and I've been busy making lots of this wild rose petal jam. It's a wonderful product that I make in small batches, and this year I have the benefit of being able to sell my jam locally at a wonderful local shop called Freckles and Porcelain. And so if you're in Prince Edward Island, you can pick some up, but I am busy with that, so next week there's not going to be a video. I will be back in 2 weeks with a new font tutorial, so I will see you then.